Bill 194090 is now live. Streaming DCS World, My Flight Sim, DCS.
Hello sir, how's that LR7 flying? Heard it's a bit rough of takeoffs.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I've only just got into it, to be honest. I did manage to start it up from memory, just from watching YouTube earlier on. I've only got it today. Just from watching YouTube earlier on, from memory of that, I managed to start it up, and it's not a straightforward process. So I was quite pleased that I managed to do that. But now, although my brake, you'll see my brake lever is working, it's not actually doing anything to cause the aircraft to stop. So I'm going to work that one out. I don't know why that is, why the lever would be moving unless somehow I've neglected to turn something on that allows, I'm not sure if it'll be, probably pneumatics, to turn the pneumatics on. I've probably forgotten something there from the tutorial. Not really a tutorial. But at the moment, if I get started, I can't stop rolling. Nice to see you, by the way. Nice to see you again. I really can't think what I would have forgotten. What's this? I'm baffled. I'll probably find the engine and overheat now. I can't remember how to open the oil flap. I closed it because you have to close things up for it to start and warm up. I can't remember what I did to close it, so I can't remember how to open it again. So I'm probably going to overheat. The axes are working okay. Don't know why the brake isn't working, although it's moving. Don't know why it's not working. That's turned on. Not that it's inverted, because when I pull my slider right back, if it was inverted, that would put the brakes on fully, but it's not doing it. In fact, the lever tells me that. That's brake fully off, that's brake fully on. But how do I open the fuel, the oil cooling flap? Oh, is that it? There we are. Let's open that. I'll end up on the garden plane because I can't change direction because I've got no braking and it works the same way as a Spitfire, so I've got no braking at all at the moment. Is that not having it? I haven't got a radio in this at the moment. You have to kind of put in a separate custom radio apparently for this, so I can't even ask anyone on radio anyway what I need to do to get the brake work. It's got to be something to do with the amount. I shouldn't think it's...
Glad to hear that from you, sir. Just to let you know that the game audio is louder than your voiceover.
Oh, okay, thank you. I don't mind it being loud. What's that like? I've just moved the mic position a bit, so what's that like?
And Furchichi. It's clear enough, all good.
Okay, thanks. It's just that I had the mic hanging down a bit, I think, that's all. How can I get the brakes working? On the tutorial I saw him moving this, but I can't even think that's full. It doesn't light up, it's not cockpit operable. It has to be a mapping that you can only do by keyboard or whatever. So I can't click and drag that, if that's what it is. So it's not even telling me what it is, because you can't move it. I can't hover over it to see what that is. I suppose I could turn round and hope I can take off in that space, but then again, see, I can't control it. I can't, at slow speed I won't be able to control the aircraft because I've got no braking. I'm looking at that, but the thing is, the lever is moving, it's just not doing the job it needs to do. So it's as if I haven't turned on pneumatics or hydraulics or something. But without a radio, I can't easily ask the others. I might see about Daxel talking to me on Discord. For me, it was quite an achievement to actually do it from memory, from the one view of the YouTube. It's quite nice that I managed to start it. I was quite happy with that. I am baffled about the pneumatics or whatever it is. I'm going to open Discord in preparation in case Lexel's able to join me on that. So I'll put a message on there for him, but you probably won't see that. I don't suppose he gets a notification. It seems a bit jerky. I'll just check the frames hopefully. I've got to get rid of this probably. That's better. I've got my frame rate up now, top left. Not very good. Maybe it's because this is like a early access aircraft, it's perhaps taking a lot more to keep it going until they streamline it a bit. I'll just get onto Axel's voice server and see if he's there, or if I can get his attention. Right, it looks as though it's going to work if Lexel gets to Discord. But I daren't even try just running up. I could use that taxiway perhaps and try to take off on that, but with no control from the brake, I'm not going to be able to guide the aircraft for takeoff. It'll be really just like hope for the best. I don't know if Laxon's going to see that message or whether he's going to get to Discord. Start it again. I'd have to remember the process for starting. I won't say it was luck, but since then I might have forgotten some of the stuff I need to do. Now you see that gauge there, I think is what would be reading my, I'm assuming it's pneumatic operation, and that's not having it. So there's something I've not done, something I've forgotten to do, or not noticed that I need to do. don't think I need the fuel meter on to do that, but I'll try anything at the moment. Of course, I mean that's going to be altimeter. These I can't remember. This is oil pressure, oil temperature, fuel pressure maybe. I think that's fuel pressure. I think eventually the engine will blow up if I don't do it right.
Admin Furchichi. It's indicating something over centimeters squared. It must be a pressure reading or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's obviously my climb and descent rate. That's fair enough. That might be oil pressure. Oh no, sorry, it's temperatures. Let's see. I don't think it's bad at the moment, although it might be lower than it should be, I'm not sure. But I'm sure those two little gauges there should be moving when I adjust my brake. These are my flaps, they're in the right, that's in the right place, which is neutral, because you've got up, down and neutral on this. And it has to be neutral once you put it up or put it down. You have to return it to neutral. This is a shared system. So that's the flaps, and then the gear, similar thing there, is either up, then back to, then make sure you put it to neutral once the gear is up, put it gear down, and then put it to neutral once you've got the gear down. So that's not anything to do with the brakes. I can't see how it relates to the brakes, so I don't think that's it. And let's see, this is close to that. Perhaps I need to check the YouTube again and find out if this is what I need. I think we put it somewhere about here. I don't know how. I don't even know what it is. So I can't hover over it and see what it is. Don't really want to go charging along there and wreck the aircraft. I have to go through the start-up procedure again. I'm going to have a quick check on the YouTube, so you'll probably hear that come through. Oh, I've got the wrong one, don't I? I've got the wrong one, don't I? I've got the wrong one, don't I? I'm clicking on loads of tabs on my thing. I suppose I could see it in my history. I'm trying to find the YouTube that I used for starting. even listed. Okay, I'll have to search. Sorry, it is not very interesting to watch at the moment. Sorry about that, Moon. I've got to find out how to get those brakes working before I do anything else.
Atman Furchichi. It's all fine, sir. Take your time.
Yeah, I've got no choice but take my time at the moment because I'll just scratch them around. I don't know why I can't find the one I had earlier on. It was one of the Grim Reapers. Perhaps I'll just search Grim Reapers. Okay, I found it.
There for the first time, and it is a motor shutdown. Oh right, so well, if you need to shut down the motor,
This is what I got from Grim Reapers. I've just got to
when you're in a dogfight.
find
That
what I
could be a
need.
problem.
Hopefully I've got to listen through it though, so stand
this
for
guy
it.
here, I'll adjust it through me, page up and page down, and that is the maximum condition. If you want to open the canopy, right click, up, left click, pull and hold. Right click, up, left click, pull and hold and drag like that. And here we go, right click and like that. You'll get used to it. Flaps up and down, you won't be pressing this lever, but it's a good indication if the flaps are up or down, or critically neutral. The same, we have the handle with the gear here, which I'm obviously not going to press now, but the gear up, down, and it's currently in its neutral condition. And onto our instrument panel, we have hydraulic pressure here, which is going to be controlling our flaps and our gear. Speaking of flaps, here is the degrees, they are up.
Alright, I've got no hydraulic
down.
pressure. So it is hydraulic, not
there.
pneumatic.
Pressure goes down. We can have our brakes, left and right real brakes, as determined by this lever here that we talked about before. You can see that operating there. Emergency.
That is a
gear
working.
down. Pressed air pressure there.
Yeah,
our
I didn't realise
magnetos
you were
here.
this short, sorry.
When we're running, we're pretty much always going to have them in one. And
Okay,
two magnetos.
stand by. I've got
Starter. We have
I've got
a cover
YouTube
here.
talking in
Quickly
here as
take the
well.
cover off and you have a
Hold on.
start button one.
yeah. I've got it. I was quite pleased. I've got Moomin here. Moomin Lag. Oh crikey! I've forgotten your name, Moomin. I've forgotten the handle that we knew you by. Not Lag. It was something like that, wasn't it? Anyway,
Well, that's my sort of semi-stream moniker, yeah.
no. Moomin had a different. He had his own name. It was something like Lag, but it wasn't that. But anyway, the point is, I managed to remember from the YouTube. I remembered enough, and it's fairly complex. I remembered enough to get started. So I'm started.
Right,
I'm up and running, but I've got no pneumatic pressure for my brakes, so
That's
my
ground
brakes
crew.
don't work.
Yeah, you have to get the ground crew to connect to air bottle.
Oh, okay. Hold on then.
I don't know what option it's under. I don't think it's the FA rearmament. Sorry, I don't think it's the rearmament aimed at FA. It might just be another one under the same FA section.
Okay, well now I've got to map my comms because that's not the same on this aircraft. I map it to sea, so I've got to remap the comms meter now to sea before I can go any further.
Yeah.
Right, I've got my comms menu. Hold on. Ground air supply, there we are.
Yeah, so I didn't necessarily know that. I just remember seeing one of the Octopus G videos that mentioned needing to have to connect an air bottle.
Okay, well I've asked them
And
to connect
I
it.
clicked on the YouTube channel that it was either going to be a picture of like a bottle laying on the ground or a very unhappy, bulky Russian with a bike pump.
Oh right. No, well I've asked them to connect it, but they didn't respond.
Are there any radio channels that you have in that?
No
Well,
idea.
it might be because you're out of slot. Have you rolled out of slot?
I have, yeah, because I couldn't control the aircraft, and even now I'm afraid to try and go back because I can't turn.
Yeah. So
Probably
you
got
might
a
want to do a
respawn.
respawn. Yeah.
The trouble with that is I've then got to hope I remember the start-up process again. I'll have to do it though.
As long as it might just have to test it from the air bottle perspective.
Yeah. I'll go in, test it from the air bottle, and I know it's cut the engine. I found that, or I saw. I've lost it again now. Oh, there it is. That's it. Well, I've cut the engine. Did something successfully. Right, I'll reslot and see how it goes.
Okay.
Right, I've spawned back in and I'll check on the menu to see if they respond to my request for air bottle. It's something I'll have to put into voice attack as well eventually.
Chief, apply ground air supply.
Oh, it says ground crew unable to comply. It's not available or something. Hold on, let's try that again.
I wonder if... I don't know, because perhaps everyone else just weren't... Perhaps they had the brakes applied, but had the engine running. So the engine was providing the air pressure.
No, because I had the engine
It might
running.
be one of those things where... oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I had the engine running, and it just doesn't... The brakes... There's no air pressure on the meter below the gear lever, and there's no... Like, you know, you're on the spit, you've got those two little needles. When you put your brake on, the two little needles fly upwards. It's got a similar thing here,
Yeah.
but they're not moving. But I did on the YouTube thing I saw, so I'll try again and try and read it, the reply.
Chief, apply ground air
Yeah,
supply.
okay. Just having a quick peek down the equipment list. I don't think
Unable to
that's
comply.
I don't
Air
think that's
source
an
isn't
airfield.
connected.
Oh, perhaps you have to connect it first, then turn it on. You have to do that in the F5. You have to tell them to connect it, and then tell them to turn it on.
Oh, okay. Oh no, yeah, you got to apply. Then that's when it asks you to do it. No, hang on. Right. I'll have to talk through this now. Stand by. Ground crew. Ground air supply. Oh, you have to. Actually, you're supposed to turn the prop, and I didn't. Before you start the engine, you're supposed to turn the prop to move the oil about, because the oil tends to drain into the lower cylinders. I didn't do that. I got away with that. Right, ground air supply. You got disconnect, apply. If I click apply, it comes up with that message. So hang on a minute, and I'll apply it, and I'll reread that message.
Chief, apply ground air supply.
Okay.
Right, ground crew unable to comply. Air source isn't connected. Don't understand that. There's no place that I can see where
It
you have
sounds
to.
like there's another step.
Yeah, but I can't see what it is.
Do you have to open the? Do you have to open? There's some engine covers. You don't have to open the engine cover in order for them to apply it, do you?
That's not impossible.
Well, I've never seen the startup video, so I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Not quite a lot for me to look through to find that out, unfortunately. But if Warhawk was here, I'm sure he'd be able to tell me.
No.
Well, or who was the other one? There's another guy.
In theory, there's Grim Reapers. The one that I was used to watch was Cap, but I haven't. Because I generally fly the older modules. I just go straight to the Chuck's guide. I just don't know if Chuck has got anything out yet for the LA7.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at the Grim Reapers one, and it did go through it, but there's a couple of things I don't remember him mentioning air bottles, but I'll have to probably just look through it again. It's not much fun for the viewers, that's all. They can't see anything; they can only hear, because it will be getting onto my stream.
Yeah.
So they can't see it. I can only hear it. I'll have to go with that and just see what I can pick up from it. Okay, not to worry then.
Yeah.
Next, it's going to be setting up controls and any options. So far, the options are as follows. Go to options from main menu. We're going to go to special options, all plain graphics. We have our World War II aviation expert on his seat.
The actual engine itself, rather.
Yeah. Find in alphabetical order LA7. You can have auto rudder, which is like a cheat mode, which means it always keeps the slip angle to 0, but if you've been flying a while, you don't want that. If you're really struggling to take off, then you can put a certain amount of automation on it to cheat, and if you want to enjoy it, that's fine, and you're struggling, then...
Sorry for those people on my stream that are hearing this but can't see it.
Customized cockpit, really important. Default will have the tabs in Russian, so when you highlight your mouse over an item and it comes up with like an info box, obviously we want that to be English, so you'll set that to English there. In terms of the controls, they're pretty simple but important. So we're going to go here again, we're going to go controls, we're going to select the LA7, we're going to start with axis controls. We're going to want to have our joystick, pitch, weapons. I've actually got nothing here.
I think I've done all this, so I'll go straight on to the startup.
Control, you're going to need an extra inch of throttle. Comms, assist. Let's start left to right, shall we? So back here, you're going to have a compressed air valve. You're going to use it on the start procedure, and that's the only time you're going to use it, as far as I'm aware. Here allows you to arm and jettison your bombs. So if I have bombs, which I actually do at the moment, I want to arm them. I press on that once. It's that little dude under the plane. You can see down, more airflow, up, less airflow. Trimmer wheels. If you want to open the canopy, right click, up, left click, pull and hold. We have the handle, the gear here, which I'm obviously not going to press now, but the gear up, down, and it's currently in its neutral condition. And onto our instrument panel, we have hydraulic pressure here, which is going to be controlling our flaps and our gear. Speaking of flaps, here is the degrees. They are up or they are down. And stop, neutralize there, pressure goes down. We can have our brakes, left and right real brakes, as determined by this lever here that we talked about before.
Okay, so the flaps affect a little gauge. Hold on. Right, the flap movement, so this lever here affects the flaps. So let's put the flaps down. Now, of course, they're not moving because I've got no pressure, so that verifies it's all to do with the hydraulic pressure. It's not there. And he hasn't mentioned an air bottle so far. I'll carry on listening.
And you can see that operating there. Emergency, if I need to blow the gear down, compressed air pressure there. Our magnetos here, when we're running, we're pretty much always going to have them in, it's currently in its neutral condition. And onto our instrument panel, we have hydraulic pressure here, which is going to be controlling our flaps and our gear. Speaking of flaps, here is the degrees. They are up or they are down. And stop, neutralize there, pressure goes down. We can have our brakes, left and right real brakes, as determined by this lever here that we talked about before, and you can see that operating there.
Okay,
emergency,
so
if I need to blow
before he gets to the stage that I got to, he already had pneumatic or hydraulic pressure operating the brakes and the flaps, and I don't have that. So I don't know why I've not got pneumatic pressure. Unless it does need the engine running.
Remember, we set that button there, and it's that little dude under the plane. For me, I've got a little zoom where I can zoom in. Let's start left to right, shall we? So back here, you're going to have a compressed air valve. You're going to use it on the start procedure, and that's the only time you can. Bar. Next view is the cold start. This is a very simple aircraft in terms of construction and in terms of flying it, but the cold start is actually very complex. So here we go. First, we need to put our chocks on. To do that, you'll need to get in your communications menu. In case you don't know how to do that, it's that button there. So communications menu, we're going to go ground crew and wheel chocks on. Ping.
Which I didn't do.
Next, we need to turn on our fuel shut-off, or enable it, should I say. So pressing that there forward means fuel can go to the engine. Supercharger lever wants to be pulled fully back in the phase 1 position, stage 1 position, which it is there. Next, oil.
Okay, I don't think I did that. So the supercharger lever. Oh, that's. I think that's the. No, that's the oil. Where's the supercharger lever? Let's go back again. Hold on. Sorry about this.
Very complex. So here we go. First, we need to put our chocks on. To do that, you'll need to get in your communications menu. In case you don't know how to do that, it's that button there. So communications menu, we're going to go ground crew and wheel chocks on. Ping. Next, we need to turn on our fuel shut-off, or enable it, should I say. So pressing that there forward means fuel can go to the engine. Supercharger lever wants to be pulled fully back in the phase 1 position, stage 1 position.
Oh, that's the supercharger lever, which I didn't use. No, that's a bomb handle. Oh, is that the supercharger? Yes, that's the... Okay, it is fully back after all that. That's already fully back. So I'll carry on.
Position, which it is there. Next, oil cooler here needs to be closed because we want the oil to heat up. If you want to check, you can go down here and you can see it's actually open there, and I've got a button set up for it if you remember, so closed. And the same with the front of the engine, make sure the front engine cowl is closed. It's not, it's open there. We need to push this lever here and check it again, and it's now closed. Also, the side cowls, which are our main way of cooling the engine, are open, so we make sure we press that button that we set earlier. We're allowing the engine to heat up this way, and that's that there, out of interest. Next, we need to get some
Ghetto Zebras. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Ghetto. Quick question. Do you
Ghetto
fly the
Zebras.
lag? I can't remember. The LA7, I
What
can't
do we
remember.
got here?
LA7, sir. But I'm having trouble getting the brakes working. The lever moves, but I've got no pressure.
Watching you revives my passion of opening a sim and learning a new aircraft.
Oh, come in and do
Ghetto
it.
Zebras.
Come in and do it, Merman.
I do not have it, but I will get her.
I was going to wait until it came out on trial, but I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure that once I've trialled it, I'm going to buy it. So I might as well get it now because it's currently $10 off. So because I suppose because it's
Ghetto
early
Zebras.
access.
It sounds so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with it, but I can't. What I managed from the YouTube that I watched, I managed to get the engine started and I was moving, but I realised then that I had no braking. So it works the same way as a Spitfire. So if you've got no braking, you can't turn. So that was a no-go. And I need to find out how to get my pressure. At the moment, it shows 0, and even with the engine running it was showing 0, because without that pressure there, the brake indicators, the fact that you're sending power to your brakes, they don't move, so therefore you're not going to slow down, or you're not going to be able to guide your aircraft. So I don't know why I'm not getting that at the moment. It does have the added complication, by the way, of you have 3 positions for your gear and for your flaps. You've got, like for your flaps, you've got flaps down, flaps neutral, flaps up. Whichever you do, whether you put the flaps up or the flaps down, after you've done that, you have to restore it to neutral. Likewise for the gear. So if you put your gear up, and then you put it back to neutral. And apparently that's because they share a system. And if you don't put it to neutral, then the aircraft is trying to do 2 things at once, and it causes an issue. So you have to make sure that once you've used your gear, or moved your gear, or moved your flaps, you have to put it to neutral before you do anything else.
At Rumen Furchichi. I have plans ahead to get DCS again, and grab the Eurofighter module when it comes out, and perhaps a Spitfire.
Oh,
Ghetto
definitely the
Zebras.
Spitfire. Definitely the Spitfire.
Did you
there.
fill the system
Right,
with
did
air?
I fill the system with air? I have requested it, but it comes back with can't do it. I'll try it again. Now that I'm in a different aircraft, I'll see what happens.
Ghetto Zebras. I think there's a valve. Ghetto Zebras. You need to open maybe. Ghetto
Well, there
Zebras.
is a pressure
I
valve
could be
over
wrong
here.
by your right knee. Ghetto Zebras. I saw a small startup vid.
Yeah, the stuff over this side, over to the right, I've done that. I'm going to ask for I've clicked on ground clue, air supply. I'll click apply, but it'll come back with a can't do it message. Stand by.
G. Apply ground air supply.
Unable to comply, air source
Ghetto
isn't connected.
Zebras.
So I don't understand.
Connected first.
well, whatever I do, it's not doing it. Whether the engine's running, whether the engine's not running, if I ask them to connect the air supply, it says can't do it because it's not connected. So I don't know what I'm missing. Right, if you're looking at the screen, we've got ground crew, then we've got ground air supply, must be that, and now all I've got is disconnect, apply, or previous, etc. Or connect. Oh, hang on, what about connect?
Chief, connect ground air supply.
Ghetto zebras. Yes, connect it.
Ah, okay,
Ghetto
okay,
zebras.
Now connected.
Then apply.
we're cooking, we're cooking.
Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy.
Right, so you have to connect it specifically and then apply it from the menu, the comms menu. Okay. Let's see if I can remember how to start it. I've got to prime it. Oh, well, I didn't. I probably didn't. I should have done this the other way around. Let's try this. No, perhaps not. Okay. Oh no, I've got a button. I was pressing that with a mouse, but I've got a button for that. I just can't remember which one it was. Oh darn. Oh, I must have a button. I must have a button for the starter and I can't remember what it is. I need to be holding the starter button and operate the wobble pump at the same time, so I need a button for that. Well, I've got one, but I can't remember what it is because I've started it before. Wait. No, I've forgotten. I knew this had happened. How did I hold the buttons? How did I do that before? Damn it. Well, at least I got brakes now. I don't have his engine start or just start. Oh, engine RPM. No. Start. Stop. Nope. Oh. Okay, I've got to watch the vid again.
Ghetto Zebras. Are you trying to figure out what the bind is called for that silver button?
That would help, yeah.
Ghetto Zebras. If you hover over it in the cockpit, it should tell you. Ghetto
That's
Zebras.
true, I don't know why I didn't do that.
The keybind name.
I didn't have a battery.
Ghetto Zebras. It takes a second sometimes to appear.
Start buttons, it's called. Okay, cheers for that, woman. Hold on. Start procedure. Wait, what?
Ghetto Zebras.
Not start button.
You can search as well if you would like.
Yeah, but it's not listed. This is a non-axis thing. It should be listed in here. But it says stop procedure, but it doesn't have start button.
Atluman Furchichi. Alright sir, it's getting a bit late. Maybe I'll catch another stream.ttfn.
Okay,
Ghetto
woman.
Zebras.
Thanks for getting
I
there.
see.
Nice to see you again. Take care, sir. TTFN. Weapon release button. So it's not called the same as the name that comes up when you hover over it.
Ghetto Zebras. I guess it's worded engine start in the keybind. Ghetto Zebras. Russians.
Well, I looked for engine, but I'll try again. I looked for engine start or start button or whatever. You'd expect it to be under engine start, yeah.
Ghetto Zebras. I've also noticed in some modules it is named something else in the settings.
Yeah, which is no help. He does talk about mapping some buttons. Let's see if I can get that back.
Highlight your mouse over an item and it comes up with like an info box. I haven't found any sensitivity problems, so I've just used the normal left and roll of the stick. But yeah, common hydraulic system and is a very antiquated design, so you need to isolate the system after you've used it, or you won't today. You might want to increase, decrease an extra inch of throttle. Car. So back here, you're going to have a compressed air valve. You're going to use it on the start procedure, and that's the only time you're going to use it, as far as I'm aware. Here allows you to arm and jettison your bombs. So if I have bombs, which I actually do at the moment, I want to arm them. I press on that once, pip, and then they're armed. Remember, we set that button there, and it's that little dude under the plane. You can see, hold, right click up, left click, pull and hold. It's determined by this lever here that we talked about before, and you can see that operating there. Emergency, if I need to blow the gear down, compressed air pressure there. Our magnetos here, when we're running, we're pretty much always going to have them in 1 and 2. Here, commonly known as a clock. Indicator lights, mains up and 3 down green. Onto our primary instrument panel, all normal stuff for the time. Our radio, which is down here by the way in case I forget. 1 and 2 magnetos. Starter, we have a cover here that you quickly take the cover off and you have a starter button 1 and a reserve there. We'll obviously look at that in a minute. Some general switches here. We have landing light, pitot heat, gear indicator. This needle is going to speed indicator measured in meters and how many tens of degrees of it. The guns are charged electro-pneumatically, and we have different bar. Next view is the cold start. This is a very simple aircraft in terms of construction and in terms of flying it, but the cold start is actually very complex. So here we go. First, we need to put our chocks on. To do that, you'll need to get in your communications menu. In case you don't know how to do that, it's that button there. So communications menu, fuel shut off, or enable it, should I say. So pressing that there forward means fuel can go to the engine. Supercharger lever wants to be pulled fully back in the phase 1 position, stage 1 position, which it is there. Next, oil cooler here needs to be closed because we want the oil to heat up. If we want to check, you can go down here and you can see it's actually open there, and I've got a button set up for it if you remember, so close. And the same with the front of the engine. Make sure the front engine cowl is closed. It's not, it's open there. We need to push this lever here and check it again, and it's now closed. Also, the side cowls needs to be closed because we want the oil to heat up. If we want to check, you can go down here and you can see it's actually open there, and I've got a button set up for it if you remember, so closed. And the same with the front of the engine. Make sure the front engine cowl is closed. It's not, it's open there. We need to push this lever here and check it again, and it's now closed. Also, the side cowl over pressure when starting, and that's bad, so we need to reset all of those cylinders to the same oil amount. And so we go to the comms menu, ground crew, and turn the prop and make sure they turn it, which they will, my little guys. Next, we need to prime the fuel system. The fuel pressure is shown there, currently at 0. We want it to be between 1 and 1.2. Make our head go there so we can see this wobble pump at the back. This is really hard, by the way, there, and that gauge. Grab it with left click and hold and move it up and down and wobble 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 and stop. We need our fuel primer switch in the lateral position, apparently, that one there. Go. Next, our second primer, because of course we need 2 primers. This one here, left click and hold 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next, throttle lever needs to be opened by 10 mil, so judge that how you will. Make sure your throttle friction is high, and then move it up, I guess you call it about half an inch, something like that there. Make sure our throttle RPM, our engine RPM, which is this right here, is in a pretty forward position, which it is. Next, kind of at the last moment really, turn our battery on because we don't want to wear it down before we start the motor, which charges the battery on there. Next, this guy, compressed air valve, turned on. What we're going to do next is quite a complex operation. In one sweeping motion, we're 1, going to press that there, start air valve, left click, turn it once, or just press it. Second, we're going to turn the magnetos as quickly as we can to 1 plus 2, both magnetos on. Then we're going to swiftly open up this cover here, and then quickly press and hold one of the 2 starter switches there. One is just a redundant, until the engine starts to catch. When the engine starts to catch, the fuel level here is going to start dropping. Sorry, the fuel pressure.
It looks as though I wasn't waiting long enough. It needs the engine to catch before I start the wobble part. Okay. I think I need to now reprime and everything. Okay, it hadn't caught properly.
Ghettos Edwards. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just holding. I wasn't holding the start button for long enough. I think I can disconnect the air now.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
Okay, I'm good now.
Ghettos Edwards. In getting to learn watching as well.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a bit complex. It's not straightforward like other aircraft might be. I can't remember what the temperatures are supposed to get up to. I'm going to just try taxiing now. I'll probably blow the engine up. Oh, let's put some other lights on. Put everything on, that way I know I've done it. Okay, I don't know if I need takeoff flaps or not. So I'm going to try the flaps, and this gauge should then show how much I've got. I'm not sure what trim I need on this aircraft. Putting that much on, I don't know if I need it. So that's how much flap I've got on at the moment. And you have to put it back to neutral once you've moved
Ghettos
it.
Edwards. Before is it too simple? One lever really.
Yeah. Okay, I've set my flaps. I'm not going to worry about trim because I don't even know what that should be. I'm going to try taxiing. I'll go that direction, I think. I've lost my pressure again. Because I've disconnected the bottle, I've lost the pressure. So I've got no braking again.
Ghetto Zebras. Did you close that valve before disconnect?
Like this one,
Ghetto Zebras. On the right with the yellow T handle. Ghetto Zebras. About halfway down it I think is a spinny wheel.
don't remember seeing them close that. But I think I'm probably not going to be able to get sorted now. I've probably got to respawn yet again. I'll see if they will connect me. I don't think they will. I've moved off the spawn.
Chief, connect ground air supply. Copy.
Well, okay, he's copied
Ground air
that.
supply is now connected. Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
And the point is, there's a difference between connect and apply. I tend to think of them as being similar, but certainly in this case they're not similar. So there it is. So let's see. I've got pressure, but I can't drag the air bottle around with me. So if I now close this and then ask for reconnect, disconnect. No, so now I've closed that valve and it's stopped working. There's something I've got to turn off. It's not this, surely. I thought that was only used to get the engine started.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
Right, and I think as soon as I use brake, it's going to drain all the pressure because there's no pressure on this gauge here. Oh, it's still working. Okay, so that valve there, which I thought you only used to start the
Or maybe
engine,
the one for starting if not
has to be
closed
turned
out
off.
the start bleeds it all out. Ghetto Zebras. But you did ensure.
yeah, no, I think all it was the one that you mentioned, this one here, which I thought you only used, you opened it to get the engine turning over. But obviously before you disconnect the bottle, you've got to close that valve because now I've got brakes. Okay, let's go. Okay, I have control, as I say. I've probably got to adjust some curves as well. did say that they're a bit tight, so slackening off the curves for the rudder and maybe the, what is it, rudder, I can't really say rudder, hitch and rudder maybe.
Ghettos Edwards. Is the taxi the same concept as Skit?
Yeah, it's the same, like one brake lever, which then puts braking on whichever wheel is favoured by the rudder position. Apparently there's a lot of checking of gauges to do so you don't blow your engine up.
Ghettos Edwards. I love it.
I like the sound of it, it sounds like an aeroplane, doesn't it? I'm not going to go down that skinny taxiway. So all my issue was just a case of process. That valve that I had to shut off, which I didn't think I needed to. Hope other things work now, such as flaps and gear. All the flaps are working, they've gone down anyway. See if my gear comes up when it needs to.
Ghettos Edwards. Do your comms work on the last server?
You have to install a radio. I'd have to contact Laxor about that and he'll tell me how to do it. I'm not worried about that at the moment. You have to install like a custom radio. So I'm going to leave all these settings vanilla, you know, like trim and everything. Leave them all as they are, and then see how it goes for a proper run later. Ghetto, I see you're sitting there. You're sitting there in your 190. I'll let you go first. Yeah, I don't think you won't get as far as me before you take off. So I think you're all right. But I'll leave you to go. I think my engine got well too hot, but we'll see. Don't know if you copy that, Ghetto. I could try taking off, but I don't know how much room I'm going to need. Oh, I see you're rolling. Okay. You're airborne, so I'm going to go. today. I think I'm going to try for landing, see what happens. Okay, the landing might have worked if I hadn't gone onto the grass and hit the truck. Right, but this is a story of getting to know how to start it up as well, so crashing and having to start again is not such a terrible issue because it's all good practice. I'm going to sort myself out a drink and I'll be back.
Stream Elements. Bill 1949T is now live. Streaming DCS World, My Flight Simming, DCS.
Okay, well, I'm going to also sort out another couple of things. I was accidentally catching a button and it was zooming me forward on the view. Now that is not the way I have it, so I've caught something wrong on the setup. I've got to sort that.
So we're going to go here again. We're going to go controls. We're going to select the LA7. We're going to start with axis controls. We're going to want to have our joystick pitch Y, and I've saw fit to add a curve to that. I found it very pitch sensitive, so it'll bounce about when you use your forward and back stick. So I've put a positive curve of 25. I'd advise you do something similar, but it's up to you, obviously. Roll, I haven't found any sensitivity problems, so I've just used the normal left and roll of the stick. In terms of the rudder, I have a rudder bar or rudder pedals, obviously. I've set that, and again, I found them quite sensitive personally, so I've set a positive plus 20 curve.
ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now connected. Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
Ghetto Zebras. I just trialed the other little Soviet fighter DCSs. Ghetto Zebras. Gonna set up some binds.
The other Soviet fight, is it a fighter? I didn't think it was a fighter. I just seized my engine because it got too hot. See what this is like for a belly flop. I landed on wheels on a runway, but I'm not going to make it back for that.
Ghetto Zebras. Whatever that thing is.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, a light aircraft. Well, my gear's not going to go down, we'll be out without the engine going, it seems. Well, that was doable. Will they repair me?
Request repair.
No, they won't repair me here. So, I think I blew my engine up because it got too hot, or too hot for too long. Okay, that's all fine. Once again, loads of start-ups and stuff will help me. But the gear wouldn't go down. I guess because the engine wasn't running, the gear couldn't go down. I need to find a better way of putting this into neutral and that into neutral. I think I've assigned at least one button. Oh, okay, I have got buttons for it. I've assigned them and forgot what I did. So if I put the gear down or up, okay, clicked it the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. I can now put it back into neutral without. Right, and then put it back into neutral with that. Okay, so that works. I haven't got to get my mouse and click that back into neutral. Okay, so I do need to restart, and hopefully as I go on, the restart process will become more familiar to me. I'll reslot and see how that goes this time. Okay, I think the first thing I'm going to do is connect my bottle.
Chief, connect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now connected. Supply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
Okay, so that gets through that little issue. I've now initially connected the air bottle and it's applied. So I can now go around the cockpit hopefully and get things rolling. But it is definitely more complex, this aircraft, to start than the Spitfire, so. That's fuel. When I'll throw this one, it should get the prop gradually turning over. And now I can lift that lever, well, get me magnetos on. Press my starter button and hold it this time for long enough for the engine to catch, and then I've got to pump on the wobble pump here to get it going. Oh, no, first I've got to prime it. Can't seem to get that wobble pump to behave itself with the wobbling. See, now it's not moving at all, so it's as if it, like, because it's not got the engine. I don't know what that would be. But now the wobble pump isn't really moving. Okay, let's give that a try. Prime it again. I didn't crack the throttle. That's why. Oh good, we've got new supply, good. Right, I didn't crack the throttle. That's probably why it didn't start last time.
On still?
Yeah, probably. You getting me?
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Just as I was coming in, I heard Topsys exclaiming. I thought we were going to collide. Yeah, it's well later than I realised, so I'm going to have to dash.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm still fiddling with this. I'm getting but slowly better with the starting up, remembering the process, and I've adjusted a couple of things, and no doubt there'll be a number of things to carry on adjusting as time goes on, but it's going to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, catch you next weekend then.
Yep, should be good. Yeah, I'll catch you then. You take care.
Okay. To FN. Well, Stopson's crashed, but I don't mind that because his proximity was really hitting my frame rate. Okay, I believe I've closed that valve, so I can now get the thing disconnected. I've still got brakes, so that I'm getting into that process now. That's working. For those that don't know what the LA7 looks like, Russian aircraft, but I've got a fictional British markings on it. Probably got to adjust certain things on my like the curves on the pedals and stuff, because it still seems a bit uncomfortable to taxi, so that's something that will come along in time. Let's taxi out. I probably need to set my slider for my brake the same as a Spitfire. But, of course, they're different aircraft, so it might behave differently anyway. Whoa, what are you doing? I've lost my pressure again. Perhaps I've got to do that favour. Okay. Let's get the, hopefully it will stop. Then I'll get the bottles set up again. But I'm not going to want to do it with me moving. But those gauges aren't moving, so I've got no pressure, so I've got to go through that process again. I've probably got to turn this one off. So it's still on, I can get it connected, then close that valve and then get it disconnected. I think that's probably what I need to do.
That cloud air supply. Copy. Ground air supply
Okay, let's see what happens now when I disconnect. No, I've got no brakes. Darn it. Unless it's a bug, I suppose it could be. But the air oh no, I've got to apply it. I've got to apply it. I've done it wrong.
Fly ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
Okay, I've got a reading here and there, so I've got to close that and then get them to disconnect to make sure I've still got pressure.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
No, that's still not doing it. Oh, did I? Oh, I left the other thing. Connect it again.
Chief, connect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now connected. Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
Right, so there's the pressure. Turn this one off. Oh, I think it already was.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
Okay, do I maintain pressure or not? Nope. So I've got to leave that. Right, well, I'm not sure now what process I used, but I've now got brakes, so I can now taxi to run one. Just been sent an image. I'm going to have a quick look at that before I continue. Hey, I think what he's suggesting that I set my I'll carry on taxiing for a bit. Vector's pinging loads of information to me as to how to perhaps get a better setup and a better game. So I'll have to look into that. I think I'm going to have to adjust the curve for my brake. It seems very touchy. I'm going to adjust the curve for my brake right now. See how that works. my spit settings and try that on this because it's not feeling comfy. Quick look at Lactor's messages. Oh, there's stuff to look at there. No, I'll just take off. Well, that's the first time. I've had two very nice takeoffs before, so I don't mind that. I'm not concentrating properly because I know Laxor sent me a load of stuff. Okay, so let's jump in again.
ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now connected. Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
Or whatever, and then I will close the stream. Thanks for being there. TTFN. Well, perhaps DCS didn't actually crash. Taken a very long time to draw my gauges.
Chief, connect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now connected. Chief, apply ground air supply. Copy. Air is now applied.
didn't crack the throttle again. Let's do that again. Through that part, I'll get back into that bit. Really, I need the temperature to come up really before I do much else. Let's show the fuel. Set my flaps to take off. Have another check on my curves. If that makes it a bit of a smoother taxi. Where am I? Yeah, we'll go that way. Adjust my rudder curve as well. trimming seems to be very coarse. flies nice, it's certainly armed okay. I don't know what happens when it comes to rearming, I'm not sure what happens there. There's something about which I don't know how to use it at the moment. So we'll see what happens when I run out of bullets and I'll push buttons. Definitely getting kills with it. bullets. Let's see what happens if I push these levers. Nothing happened. It's okay, so I don't know what those levers are for then. I'll RTB and see if I can bounce. Well, I'm down. It wasn't pretty, but I'm down. Looks like I damaged my right landing gear. I've only got 2 green lights.
Griffo 8 up. 07.
Well, great coat. Hopefully you weren't here to see my earlier pretense of a landing. Slipped onto the grass somehow. Yeah, I've definitely got a gear issue.
Griffo 8 up. What plane is this?
Oh, it's a bent leg. This is the LA7 with fictional British markings on it. But yeah, I bent a gear leg.
Griffo 8 up. Oh well.
It's quite complex to start it up. There's a number of things you have to remember, and even like, I don't know if you know the LA7, but when you put your flaps down or your gears down, there are 3 positions. There's up, down and neutral, and because the gear and the flaps work off the same system, you don't want them both being working together. So you put your gear down, say, and you then put your gear lever to neutral, so that it's no longer in the system, if you like, and then you can operate your flaps. And then when you've operated your flaps, you put them to neutral. So every action you take on your gear or your flaps, you have to, when you've done it, put the lever back to neutral. So there's the levers. So I haven't done that one yet because I didn't need to, but I'll put that back to neutral. I can do that with a button now. So that's back at neutral. The gear is already at neutral. So that's obviously that's gear up and that's gear down, but it's currently in a neutral position. So you don't want them both in a position. They can both be neutral, but they can't be both in a position other than neutral. So I think that'll probably be it for me now. There's a number of things that I'll be doing, fine tuning. Laxor's also given me a load of information about stuff that I can set in OBS for improvements. So there's a number of things I could be doing. So there you are. That's the story with the LA7. That's what I got today. I like it. Yeah, I don't like it, but it's going to take a bit of getting used to, and you have to keep an eye on temperatures and things. Otherwise, you do blow your engine up, as I did earlier on, so it overheated. So you've got your engine cowl. You've got your engine cowlings there to open or close, and they're also underneath there, although it's not open at the moment, there's the oil cooler. Let's do that. So now you see the oil cooler underneath there is open. I'll close it again. I can't point on for. Oh, can I point if I get that minute? Yeah. Right. So there's the oil vent, the oil flap. So let's close it. And there we are. It's closed.
Grippo 8 up.
Now it's open again.
When did they release this mod?
Within the past few days, I'm thinking. I'm not sure, not dead sure, but probably no more than a week ago. We've had a few people flying. Actually, in this server last night, we had a lovely situation where we had 7 of us in Warbirds, all flying out together to a mission south of the in the sort of south area of the map, not too far. But yeah, so we had Spitfires and P47, P51, lag. Well, I'm saying lag, I should say LA. I think it follows on from the lag, but the LA7. It was really, really good. It was great to be flying all together. Last night's stream does show some of that. So it might be worth a little look if you wanted to.
Grippo 8 up. Nice.
So the flaps are going up. When they're up, I'll put them back to neutral. So yes, a slight oddity that you've got 3 positions. I know some are graduated, so you've got more than one position in that sense, but this is like up, down or neutral. I've just put a link in there, Greco, in case you want to have a quick look. This is I was flying and catching up to a group of about 4, so that I made 5, and there was 2 others that hadn't yet got into the group on the way to the target area. But I'm going to fold now, although it's a bit late. Thanks for being there, or rather though it was brief for you, thanks for being there, and we'll be flying again next weekend, and I'll probably be flying, you know what, I haven't taken my Spitfire up at all tonight, because I've just been working purely on the LA, so next week it'll probably be more of a mix, I think, Friday and Saturday. So thanks for being there, cheers for that, and catch you next time. Yeah.
Grippo 8 up. 07.
TTFM. So for anyone on my stream now, I am going to close the stream, and we will be flying again Friday and Saturday of next week, usually starting in the region of 11:30ish PM. I'm going through to the early hours, maybe 2:30 AM on each subsequent following day. So I'm going to close the stream and say thanks again. Take care. TTFN.